Hey guys, welcome back to the 1v1 podcast, and I'm your host Vlhadus. And before I introduce my guest here, I just want to make a shout out to all my viewers out there that if you want to be on the 1v1 podcast with me, it does not matter if you are an Ashes of Creation content creator, if you're just an avid MMO gamer, or you love Ashes of Creation, or maybe you don't like Ashes of Creation. I would love to have a conversation with you. So just hit me up on Twitter, my DMs are open, or you can always hit me up on Discord. If you look in the description of this video, you will see my little hashtag for Vlhadus if you want to direct message me in Discord. But for right now, I have a great guest with me today, and his name is MoerTa. How are you doing today, man?
Hello, mate. I'm doing good.
All right. So we had a huge little debacle before, but hey, we got it all straightened out. The audio is great. Yep. I hope everyone loves the audio, but hey, it happens to the best of us, especially to me. I'm still learning. I'm not ashamed to admit it. But MoerTa, if you want to go over a little bit of like your gaming history, like, what MMOs have you played before in the past?
I played a bunch. Like, I started out, I would say, probably RuneScape 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In RuneScape Classic, which was like the, like most people know the, what I call RuneScape 2, like the old school RuneScape. But I started out in Classic, which looked like paint, which for my friends would describe the graphic as. That's what I started out with. And then I played a lot of RuneScape, this version, and World of Warcraft, like most. I started late Classic. I think
I did too. Mine was October of 2006 is when I started.
2006. Yeah, that would probably be the same time. Was that like BVL area?
It was 3 months. So Burning Crusade launched January of 2007. So I was like 3 months before the expansion, the new expansion.
Okay. So yeah, I think I started probably 6 months earlier, the BVL time, because I know I was in high school, like somewhere around there.
Okay.
And then I played some Black Desert, not a lot. I don't like the combat in that. I love the crafting, but I don't like and of course the pay to win. Yeah, fuck that shit. Oh, yeah. Sorry, am I allowed to swear? You'll believe me if I don't.
No, it's fine. Hey, cussing's fine. I don't. It's my channel's not meant for kids, so I mean, it's all good.
I know you Americans have a bit hard stance on cursing than the Swedes do. So
no, I don't. I mean, I cuss every now and then too if I'm feeling it. But I mean, so when it comes to MMOs, do you feel like the old school principles of MMOs is really what gets you? Or do you feel like it's a healthy combination of like certain new school principles and old school principles of MMOs?
Definitely that. I don't think, like, going too old school, I don't think it will work. A lot of the new stuff I think is really, really unhealthy. I think a big issue with newer MMOs is the corporates are making the decisions instead of the developers and the gamers. Where you have like, you want to maximize profit short term. You can't do that with MMO. You have to think long term with like growing a player base and making content that people like. I think that's, but I don't think, like, World of Warcraft Classic is a perfect example that I played it. I thought it was a great experience, but it feels dated. It's a lot better than current WoW, but it feels really dated. A lot of the principles there are great, but
so I mean, I just want to expand a little bit because you said dated. I don't think you mean just graphically.
Oh,
dated.
No.
Because people, most people have this illusion that, give us classic WoW with like Unreal Engine 5 graphics and it's going to be the best game ever. No, I still feel that there are a lot of principles that that we do need old school wise. I feel like professions in general need to feel needed, need to feel desired, need to feel unique. But you can't have
economics.
No, for sure. But I feel like there's a lot of outdated stuff, like, in my opinion, like de-leveling, like, where, you died and you just hit that level, now you're back to your old level and you have to regrind again. That to me that is an outdated like MMO feature, just like XP does.
Plans to have that, and it's one of the things
Well, Ashes plans to have XP debt. They do not plan to have de-leveling.
I played it's not an MMO, but 7 Days to Die, and
Okay.
they have where you get an XP penalty, like you won't level up, and it's fine at the start, but once every time you die starts getting like a burden on you, it doesn't feel that good anymore. Like it feels
Right.
like you're getting punished for playing the game.
Right.
I feel like this is one of the things they have to look at in probably beta or late alpha 2 to see, is this something we want to keep. But I know Steven's philosophy with everything Ashes is consequences and risk versus reward. So it might work. I haven't seen it work, but like you say, getting de-leveled really sucks, and
Right.
maybe a penalty is okay. But I mean, say if I know their goal with raiding is as hard as World of Warcraft, where you can spend a night wiping 20 times. Like, how much of a XP debt would that incur? Is that like a whole level, or is it capped to like 25% of a level? And if a level takes 2 days to get at the end, like
Right.
that's like hours and hours of grind to kill a boss, and it would punish people. Like, it wouldn't punish the people at the max level. So say
Right.
you want to join a raid at, like, I don't know what the max level is going to be, say it's 50, you want to go in there 48.
Right.
The most people won't get affected by it, but you will,
Right.
because you're like not max level. And I
Right.
think you should be able to experience content not at max level, with the philosophy that it should take time. Like, you can't spend 3 months not playing the game and getting like this trial by fire. I don't think that's a fun mechanic either, because I know some games try that, where like it's really boring and grindy to get to max level, and there's like nothing but grind there. I think the game has to start at level 1 and keep going all the way up to max level. I think
Yeah.
it has to be fun all the way.
Right. And again, it's like the one thing that I tell people, especially the very, very passionate Ashes of Creation people, they're like,
Yeah.
no, Steven shouldn't change anything. Everything sounds great on paper. And it's just like, well, no, dude, there's going to be things that sound good on paper, but in principle, when you're playing it, it's going to feel disgusting. And again, most of the time, people don't also realize that playing in an alpha or in a beta, you are playing very unnaturally. Because you know this is not your permanent character, so you're willing to take more risks because it's not your permanent character, you know, and
100%.
the behavior completely changes once the servers go live. So it's really hard to get actual data feelings of a game, because how I'm going to treat the alpha and the betas is if I actually am playing live. If this was really me in the world, like, how would this actually make me feel? Because I think the corruption in for a lot of the Ashes stuff is too punishing. I think or not corruption in general, but I think dying is too punishing. And I think we need to find a nice middle ground for both hardcore people and for the average person. And I'm not talking the average person like a pleb, like someone who's never played MMOs. I'm talking like the average MMO player, and so I think, because a lot of people just think that this game can be very successful with just the hardcore crowd.
No way.
It can't. Like, you do need a healthy amount of average people that want to play the game. And I know this game isn't going to be for everybody, but I think if they can really stick to their vision and to their principles for the majority of things, I'm not saying everything, then we will have a very special game in our hands. But I just don't like this attitude for most of the, like I said, the hardcore Ashes people, where we don't need to change. We don't need to find a middle ground. It's fine the way it is. If they don't like it, they can go somewhere else. Then we'll have a dead game, like in a year.
I mean, I feel like for some things, you absolutely have to stick to your gun. You can't give up on your vision. But like you say, you can't focus on just the hardcore audience, because then there's no game left. You have to have people like, but I played Darkfall quite a bit, and I think there was like that. You know about Darkfall? Like I'll guess I'll explain anyway because most people don't know about Darkfall. That is a full loot hardcore PvP MMO with a lot of crafting, and I think if that game had better developers, it could have been really really good. But like if you died there, you lost everything. But then gear is really easy to replace. What I love about that game is it all like the economy is like
Bustling.
a real economy. You actually have to replace the armor. Like crafters always have something to do. But since there was too little punishment, there was of course very very toxic elitist wolves. And I myself, I'm a sheep. Like I'm not a hardcore elitist PvPer. But I love the crafting, the economy side, and I like the like the middle of the road. Like I wanna be challenged when I play games. I love Doom Eternal, for example. I love the first Doom 2016 because it always challenged me. But I mean, yeah, I think if they have a corruption system that allows you to PK, but it punishes you for it, so you have to make a choice. Like, okay, this guy is standing here with like a lot of resources. Yes, I'm going to PK him. It's gonna cost me a lot, and it's gonna cost him a lot. And also, like with the Great Gathering, like if you lose only some of it, where like will you end up in town? Like, is this a port mechanic, or do you have to go back to your body and bring it all the way back?
And I think a lot of these things is what I'm so curious to see in Alpha 2, because again, there's multiple levels of punishment when it comes to death, and I think having all of the punishment in the world is just, for the average player, they're just gonna be like, this is dumb. Like, it doesn't matter how great the graphics are, the professions are, the classes are. If it feels horrible to die, they're never going to want to take a risk in anything, which means they're just going to be afraid to play the game, and that fear is just going to just make them stop completely. And that's bad. But I do want to go into a little bit, like, as far as like your MMO, like what you do in MMOs, because you say you're a sheep, but I guess you just mean that you're not a hardcore MMO like PvPer. But like, are you a raider? Are you like, what do you like to do in most MMOs that you play?
I usually like feel like I'm the most hardcore casual there is.
Like there is hardcore casuals, that's for sure.
Yes, yeah. So I don't do like, I never did like mythic raiding, but I raided a fair bit. I did like mythic something in World of Warcraft. I do like the strike missions. I play Guild Wars a lot at the moment. I play Guild Wars 1 as well, and like I do like, I'm like a step down. Like I do the well, I guess some people would say the hard content, but not the at the highest level. I like being good at what I do, but I'm not. I think a hardcore casual is the best way to describe myself in all MMOs.
So do you feel like with Ashes specifically, because I feel like this is going to be a game that is going to be really cool for casuals. Like I really do, because you think of like the animal husbandry system, professions in general. Like I have a buddy of mine who's super into economy, and he cannot wait for professions, especially with regional auction houses, with the caravan system, with the naval caravan system, and going from one continent to the other. Treaties between guilds with like, certain professions or whatever. Like that intrigues the hell out of him. But you don't only have that. Like I think if they were to also add like an achievement page for you to like do in certain areas, collecting of transmog mounts, all these like pets, whatever. Like I think there's going to be a lot of really cool things to do as a casual person in Ashes. And I think if they can just get past the whole PvP side of things, because again, I don't, and I don't know what you think about this, but I would think with the corruption system in place in Ashes, people aren't going to be killing people willy-nilly. Like, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I think,
like
oh, go ahead.
if people kill people willy-nilly, then they fuck the corruption system.
Right.
You can't have people killing people for no reason. You can't. Like, if
Right.
if they let that happen, the game will be over.
Right.
Like, there's no future for the game. They have to get that right. That is
Right.
like one of the most important things, I think, to get right. Because otherwise,
yeah,
people will quit.
Yeah, and I feel like that's going to be so heavily. I'm going to be testing that a lot myself.
Yeah.
But I just think it's going to happen a lot in the alpha because again, people play very unnaturally. People want to see what the corruption system is. How far does the corruption system go? How many pieces can I potentially lose? You know, all these things. But however, I feel like once the live game happens, and then once people really see how long leveling is, how in depth the professions are, and how it is to make pieces, especially for guilds and stuff, you're not going to want to risk your armor early on, because in most other MMOs where armor at the leveling part is meaningless because quests just give you armor like nobody's business. I don't know if that's going to be the case in Ashes, and I think a lot of the armor economy is going to be from professions. So you're not going to want to waste your own mats or your guild's mats by just PKing people and then randomly losing your gear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
I think, like, normally the people who grief, like the PvP we want to avoid, I think both of us and most people, the griefing. I mean,
right.
If I want to kill you for a gain or because you fucked me over earlier, like in the week, I think both you and I understand that, okay, I killed you because, and I think that kind of peeking is fine. Peeking, player killing. The player killing I want to avoid, and I think most people want to avoid, is the rogue that stealths you, like level 60 rogue stealths up at you in Stranglethorn value when you're like level 40. That kind of stuff. When there's like the consensual PvP, I think that's the stuff we want to avoid.
Right. But again, I feel like if you want to be a passive, right? And here's the thing: if you're a level 60 or 50 in Ashes, that's gonna be the max level.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're gonna be trying to kill a level 30, and they're not fighting back. You're gonna start getting scared because it's like, if this guy doesn't fight me back, I'm gonna be corrupted, and that's gonna come with a heavy price because for what Steven says, the lower level you kill, the more corruption you get. And that's not even to say anything about the bounty hunter system, but even just regular green non-combatant people can kill that corrupted player with absolutely no penalty. And they'll get bonuses from it because if they kill him, they'll get whatever loot they get from him and gathering materials. So like I said, I don't think it's going to be as bad as people think. And I honestly feel, and this is just something I was thinking recently regarding the caravan system, is that if you're with a person that's like, hey dude, I don't want to be outside the caravan to protect it, I'm kind of just, like you said, like I'm a casual, I don't want to engage in PvP, I want to be inside the caravan completely unharmed from everything. I think that'd be a really cool component to add, because if you have someone who doesn't want to interact with anybody but they need to get to point B as well, that's a really cool like shield to have as the caravan itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be actually a really good feature to have, like, instead of like the AFK travel being like World of Warcraft Griffins or
the Zeppelins.
Yeah, you actually hop on a player-driven caravan. I think that would be a fantastic way to fast travel, because sure, it's not gonna be instant or minutes. Maybe it's an hour where you want to go. But you don't have to do anything. You can just sit inside the caravan, like you say, protected.
Yeah.
But I have a worry about the caravan system, because to me, you always want to have a risk versus reward. When I travel with my caravan and take it from place A to B, I expect there to be higher profits at the end.
Right.
Hopefully, like I'm in a lumber-rich area, I'm driving to a area without lumber. I
Right.
expect to be able to sell my goods for more. Like that's
Right.
the reward. The risk is I'm spending time and I'm risking that maybe I won't get more for my goods. Like that's the risk I'm taking, and I might be attacked. That's the
Right.
risk.
Right.
And I think that's really good risks. All of them.
Correct.
What do the attackers risk?
Nothing.
Yeah,
Absolutely nothing.
That is a huge problem because there's no corruption if you attack caravans.
Right.
Or there's no planned corruption.
Right.
They won't lose any materials. They won't lose any gear. Or
Right.
stopping them from just attacking the caravan till it's dead.
Yeah. Basically
and
relentlessly. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is I don't know how to solve this issue because it's not the same when you attack a town because you have to go through a quest line. You have to sink material into catapults and other kinds of siege weapons. Like there's a huge investment to attack a town, and you have a small window. But a caravan, I don't see an easy or a good feeling way to punish the attackers should they fail. Because I think, yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, and again, this is just me thinking outside. Like, so there has to be a UI associated with the caravan system, meaning that the way it's mentioned is whenever you see a caravan, there's a UI dialog box that pops up on your screen. You can either choose to defend or you can either choose to attack. That's how that's how it works. So if you're seeing a caravan that's in motion and you're in a certain radius of it, you have to select one. You're not going to be able to from what I'm seeing, I don't know if it's going to be impenetrable, but again, this all has to be tested in Alpha 2.
Yeah.
However, if you choose to attack, now you're in attack mode for that caravan. Maybe as a very first caravan shot, there is no risk for you. However, if you do not successfully take over that caravan, the UI should ping you as that character or whatever you did and say the next time you attack a caravan, a portion of your, like, then now the counter starts. So if you want to try to attack caravans all day and you attack a second caravan, you're going to lose 5% of your gold. You're going to lose 5% of your materials. And then it just keeps going from there until you successfully kill a caravan. So that there's basically diminishing returns. And again, that's just me kind of brainstorming here on the fly. But again, I feel like you're totally right. There should be a risk. And also the reward is basically taking over the caravan.
Yeah. I mean, the reward is obvious. I mean, the risk component. I would hate for it to pop, like have an interface like that pop up. I mean, I understand. Maybe that's the way they have to go.
Well, the only reason why they have to go that route is because if you want to defend the caravan, how is it going to determine you that for that reward? You know what I mean? So it's like if I'm just like a Joe Schmo outside gathering and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I see a caravan and it's like a dialogue box says, oh, would you like to defend it? Would you like to attack it? Yeah. Oh, I know that guild. I'll defend it for them. You know, I don't mind spending, 20 minutes helping them, take that caravan or whatever. Yeah. Like, and that's what it is, right? And it's just like, and I think even as a defender, you should get rewarded in some way, shape, or form for defending a caravan. And again, if they have its own kind of UI score sheet at the end, it'll actually list you for being a defender for caravans. And I think it'd be really cool to get like a commendation token, and you can turn in those commendation tokens at like a vendor to get rewards. Yeah,
like in my fantasy world, like how I wish it would work is okay, my fantasy, like this is probably not gonna happen, but my fantasy is no rewards for caravans.
Really?
Outside of the caravan itself. Like if you're a caravan guard, you sign up. Or like not sign up, you talk to the people who want to run the caravan from point A. Say, I will defend your caravan, you will pay me X amount of gold. Half when we start, half when we get there. And then you defend the caravan up until the end, they pay you. Or they don't pay you. Or you don't defend. And the punishment for you not defending is, well, everybody at point A and point B is now no, this guy's a piece of shit. Don't hire him. So he's gonna ruin his reputation as a caravan guard. And like this is what I would like. This is the ultimate fantasy for the caravans. And since you have these smaller communities in each node, people are going to know each other, even if there's like a lot of people on the server itself. But everybody's gonna be split up in like 200 places.
Correct.
With smaller communities. And yeah, in a big city, you are going to be more of a nobody, just like in real life. I mean,
right.
I come from a small town where I know maybe 20% of the population. Now I live in not a big city, but big city for Sweden, the second largest one, where I know like nobody.
Right.
And I think I'm hoping it's going to be the same way. Like if you want a smaller community where you know a lot of people with tight knit, and like choose a smaller town. If you want to have the city life where maybe it's a lot more trade, choose the bigger ones. Now
Right.
I completely went off topic on the caravan, but this is like my ultimate fantasy for the caravan.
Well,
no in-game rewards, no pop-ups, no nothing. Just
and again,
just talk.
No, for sure. And I only mentioned the commendation system just because I love rewarding people, but you're totally right. I think in Ashes, like if you're just a Joe Schmo and you see a caravan being run, like it'd be cool if you can just whisper the caravan leader and be like, hey, if you need an extra defender, I'll help you defend the caravan if you give me like 5% or whatever it is you're hauling, or if you give me direct gold. Like I think I'm more interfaced, because I am more outside of rewarding people, I am more for community. I am more for community interaction, because that is the one thing in today's MMOs that is severely freaking lacking. So
100%.
So
you go into a dungeon, no one talks to each other.
Right.
Maybe a hi and maybe a thanks bye. At most. Like then you're like, yes.
Yeah, basically. But at the same time, there's no reason to talk. The only time you talk is if someone messes up, or if someone's not doing what you want, or if it's not like a smooth run, or whatever the case is. But I want to get back to the roots of a lot of back in the day. I think antisocial people weren't as rampant, right? I think a lot of the people like that were playing EverQuest and playing World of Warcraft, Ultima Online, Dark Age of Camelot, they were antisocial in real life, but in games, they were like the most social people. They were the ones that were like guild leaders. Like the ones, like I'm telling you, like my old guild leader from back in the day was like the most antisocial person in real life. But in game, he was like a personality. He was like a person that people knew. And it's all about that online persona. And I feel like, I don't know what's happened to the psyche of the average gamer nowadays, but it's like people are like commended for being like guildless and being by themselves. And, I don't know. Again, I come from World of Warcraft, the community and WoW has been so toxic, which is why I don't play that game anymore. But I just feel like with Ashes, I hope that community comes back. That whole like wanting to talk, wanting people to come together, wanting people to join guilds, and guilds mattering. Because again, a lot of MMOs, you just make a guild to raid. There's really no other function that the guild does anymore. And in Ashes, like how big are you into guilds? Like just curious.
I guess it's the way, like I used to be really big into guild, like when it was, like you say, more than just a community of raiders, when you had like the social aspects. Like some of my guild mates from 10 years ago, I still talk to this day, because they're my friends. But recently, like I haven't really. It's just like a group of people that go to raid. That's like what a guild is in World of Warcraft today.
Right.
And like you say, that's not the way it used to be. It used to be like a real community with drama and infighting and all this the social stuff. And like I say, that this is the biggest thing I hope Ashes can bring back. And not just guilds. I think you're gonna have, hopefully, if and I think this is Steven's vision, is that you have a lot of communities. You have your guild, you have your town, you have your maybe a bigger sphere. Like you have your town, which is the most important to you, like where you live, and maybe the neighboring towns, and maybe the closest castle to you, like the castle in your the castles area. I think it's planned for 5 areas, right? And 1 castle governs each
I think
area.
so. It's so hard because there's just so much information on everything.
Yeah,
But there's going to
think
be
that's
parental nodes. So you're going to have like a main
Yeah.
node and then the 2 other parental nodes. And then you may also have a castle
Yeah.
that is a part of the whole like 5 areas. So,
Yeah. And I think like with this kind of system, I think hopefully there's going to be a lot of community that you're part of, more or less. And I know a lot of people imagine like living really far away, like, yeah, I want to settle in this town and I'm going to be a guild, part of a guild, and they're going to be over here. I don't think people realize how big the world is going to be. Because I know like just in beta 1 now, it took a long time to travel in that small area. And I don't think
you're talking Alpha 1, right?
What did I say?
Beta 1.
Alpha 1.
Yeah, I know what you meant though.
Thank you. Yeah. Like it's you're gonna have to be invested in your local community. And I think your guilds gonna have to be local as well, or else you're not gonna be able to spend time with them. I mean, if you need to spend 2 hours, and I know people have said like, yeah, but you have to be able to teleport to your friends, because what if they're over there? Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a good thing, that you have to plan to go there today.
Right. And again, I feel like I did a whole video on the family summoning system. I think there's just a lot of systems that need to be tested rigorously in Alpha 2. I think the family summoning system is definitely one. I understand
I think I saw that video.
Yeah, the principle behind the family summoning video, or the family summoning in general, for what I think Steven wants, is he wants friends to play together. You know, it's like if you come home from work, right? You work a 12-hour or 8-hour day. You know, you log out in whatever zone in Ashes, and then your friend's somewhere else. He wants you to be summoned to where they are and play together, you know, gather together, quest together, do dungeons together, as quick as possible. Rather than, you have to travel like 45 minutes from wherever you are to where I am, and then like you basically spend 15 minutes just doing something together because he has to go and be with his wife or his family or whatever, you know? And it kind of sucks, you know? So I completely understand. I just think there needs to be a little bit more limitations to prevent the whole anti-zerging that people want to have, because you have to understand too, we are in a very min-max society. We are very organized.
We're human.
Yeah, and we're very detailed in gathering information and very well crafted. So if there is a kink in the family summoning system's armor, we will find it and we will exploit it to hell and back. Especially with world bosses being very much a thing, with a lot of the end game mats and end game gear being behind world bosses. You basically, you have a really organized guild can just summon 120 players like that. And so we need to be able to just work out all those details. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, with world bosses, I'm hoping, like, the problem with, say, World of Warcraft raid bosses is, since they're out in the open, anyone can jump on you at any time. I'm actually hoping that, what I want is when you go into a dungeon and you engage a boss, stuff behind you starts respawning. So if anyone wants to grief you, or like maybe you have two big guilds in the same area. Now I've changed subject completely to
no, that's fine.
I'm just saying, like, I'm changing subject here,
right?
So people don't get confused. Like, I know you talked about the family system before, and I think it definitely has good points. and I know I watched your video, and I 100% agree with you with the chain summoning. I think that could be a huge problem.
Right.
When you start talking about really well organized guilds. But what I'm hoping they do for world bosses is that most of them are in dungeons, and I think that's the plan. And the deeper you go, the harder the content. So, and maybe early on in the dungeon, you have the easiest content, where low levels actually can do the content, and that you have an aggro system, kind of like World of Warcraft, where high levels just can run through it without having to engage the irrelevant content for them. And the bonus with this is low level people will see these really cool. Well, the problem is, of course, transmogs. I really hate transmogs. Oh god, I'm just jumping through.
Wait a minute, hold on. You don't like transmog?
No, I hate transmogs. I know, like back in the days, like the original 60, like when you saw someone in like full epic, like the high-end tier, like a rating, and he was on an epic mount, like you knew that guy, he knew what he was doing. Like that was a really cool dude.
Right.
Nowadays, you have no idea how good someone is, but just like you could just look at someone and see this guy is really good. You just knew, like, this guy's good because he has good gear. Now you
Right.
have no idea. Like you can be a level 1 in the coolest looking army in the game.
Right.
I
No.
hate that.
No, I think a lot of the cosmetics in general, I think
Yeah.
are very important to people, and it's important to me too.
Yeah.
But I guess when it comes to certain things, I don't care at the end game. But this is me. Like I know for a lot of the people that are raiders and stuff like that have really cool armor and they want to show it off, they can. But I think I think once you get into a game, right, and you start seeing like, oh, that was from the cash shop, oh, that was from an easy boss, like
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter what they're wearing or what they choose to represent. You're still going to notice, you know. And it's what's so funny to me, at least in WoW, all of the people that are like in high-end mythic gear are like in the worst transmogs. Like they have like,
Yeah, because they don't care.
yeah, they don't care. They're like in
Yeah.
greens and blues and just like looking like a complete pleb. And it's really funny because it's ironic, you know, because they're so amazingly geared, but they look like trash.
Yeah.
And you know, I have a friend of mine that literally is a chef, and he usually likes to transmog in chef stuff like all the time, regardless of, you know, what he actually wears or how good his gear is. So I just think it's more as to your identity, like what do you want to be known for? But I totally get your point, because you know, back in Classic, it was really cool to see like people on the mailbox just in full tier 2, and you're just like, holy crap, that's crazy.
Yeah. Again, I have a fantasy, and I wish what they would do is in towns you have civilian clothing, kind of like. Did you play Mountain Blade?
No, I've never played that.
No, but there you have. Okay, you don't normally go into town, but when you go into town, you have civilian clothing, and when you're out of town, you have like your armor. And if you want your armor to be a civilian clothing, that's fine. So when you're in town, you can wear wherever, look however you want. But when you're outside, you're in your armor. I don't think that's gonna happen, but that's like on my, like, if I could make like a dream game with stuff, this would be on that list. Like you can transmog in town however you want. Out in the world, you're in armor.
Interesting.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah.
Or go ahead.
Yeah. Because I really like the transmogging, because some people do amazing things with transmog, like really amazing.
Yes, they do.
And I know like a lot of people who have a lot of alts and collect a lot of achievements, they have like the account progression where they collect achievements, they collect transmogs, they make really, really cool transmog, and that's the end game for them. Like that is the most important thing. Like some people I know raid just to get a transmog. They don't care about anything else in that raid except that one transmog.
Right. And those are like a lot of the hardcore casuals. A lot of the hardcore casuals are huge transmog farmers. They're transmog farmers, they're mount farmers, they're pet farmers, and like they want to collect all the things, you know. And that's why I'm a huge proponent of transmog. But I realize to a lot of people, like the transmog system has ruined the player look, because it's
Yeah.
like if you want to look awesome because you killed like all the world bosses and got all this really cool gear, you should be able to look like that. And again, you can, but if someone's just dressed up in a costume that was purchased from the cosmetic shop, people in game know, oh, that looks cool, but that looks cooler because I know where those pieces came from. And it still provides that same reveredness, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because you and I, we've been playing for 10 years. We know.
right.
But if you're new and you come in and you see these players running through you, you don't know if they bought the stuff. And to them, maybe it doesn't really matter if they bought the stuff. They look really cool and they run
Right.
through you. You know they're high level, so maybe it doesn't really matter. I actually might be in the wrong here. Transmog might not be such a big deal.
Well, I mean, of course you can have your opinion on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've like I said, I played WoW for almost 15 years. So
Yeah.
like I've seen an MMO without it. I've seen it with it, you know, and if I had a choice, I'd prefer it with it. Because again, I have always loved having player agency and customization on players. And I think the transmog system does a great job of that. The only thing I would love for Steven to do is to make it as intuitive as WoW's. But even go further, because in WoW, there's a lot of things you can't do with the transmog system. It's not perfect, but I would love to be able to save preset costume designs.
Yes.
In WoW, you can't do that. Like you pretty much have like your tier sets, you have your non-tier set items, but like if you create an ensemble, wait, no, I do think you can do that now. No, yeah, you can save presets. Sorry. Again, like it's been
you couldn't for a long time.
Yeah, you couldn't for a long time. Because in Final Fantasy you can save presets. In WoW now you can finally save presets.
Yep.
So but yeah, like I would love for them to do that, and to actually see once an item has been discovered in Ashes of Creation, if like in the transmog system, like you see a belt and it says question mark because it's like no one knows where that belt comes from. But then as soon as someone discovers it in the server, now, oh, this belt comes from, tier 4 leatherworking, or this belt comes from this boss that was killed. So if you want to go try to get this belt, you know where the location is. Like, just stuff like that. That way people can know exactly where it is. Because here's my thing. If people say, oh, they shouldn't put that in the game, guess what? There's going to be a website that they can go to that's going to be able to find it anyway. So why not put it in game? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask you a question though. So out of everything you've seen from Ashes of Creation, what gives you the biggest hesitant? Like what makes you feel very afraid for Ashes? If anything.
I mean, like if Steven can do everything he says he can, I don't think the game has any chance of failing. Yeah.
Really? That's a heavy statement to make.
I mean, he is a hardcore gamer. He knows what he wants. He has played what, and he know, like, if I had my dream MMO, Ashes would be pretty close to it. There's a few things. For example, I would like to have gear that degrades completely, that you have to remake the gear. I know Ashes is not going to have that, for example, and I think
it will.
No, you will have to go to a blacksmith and repair it.
But you can only repair it, and this is what Steven said several times. You can only repair a single item so much until it completely until it's going to be unrepairable, and it's going to be not applicable to wear anymore, because it's just you can't repair it. It's at 0 durability, so you can still have it, or it's either just going to dissipate completely, or it's just going to be unusable.
I thought that was only for like legendaries, that they were going to be timed.
He talked about it as far as actual gear too. Okay. So because he wants exactly what you said, he wants things to be constantly pumped in from the professions into the auction house into players, and the only way you can do that is by having gear degradation. Because
the way I understood it is, if my gear is broken, I would have to find a blacksmith or a leatherworker or whatever at that quality to be able to repair it. But then I'm even more excited because I
Right.
think that is hugely important for the economy to actually be spinning. Like you have to replenish the gear.
Right. But I think there's always going to be, because people I think are very worried about that, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a lot of gear you're going to be able to have. And I think the other thing about it too is there's going to be things to like elongate how long a gear lasts.
Yeah.
Right. There's going to be enchanting. There's going to be a lot of different ways in how to make a certain piece last as long as possible.
But if it lasts too long, like then what's the point? But
right.
Yeah.
But I think it's more. I think that's more for like the end game stuff. Like I'm talking more stuff like as you're leveling and everything like that. But again, and that could change too. But I do know, and I've heard him say several times that there is going to be degradation, and you're only going to repair items so much up until it's just unrepairable. And you will need to go to a blacksmith to do that. You're not going to go. You can't just go to an NPC that's in a town to repair your gear. So I love that idea, and I know a lot of people hate that. I know a lot of people are like, "What? That's so stupid. I have to like talk to somebody." Yes, you have to talk. MMO. I know, in an MMO, I have to talk to somebody to repair my gear. That's stupid. And it's like, well, if you don't want to talk to anybody, then become a blacksmith. Repair your own gear. Now you don't have to talk to Skyrim. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said. I think again, this is why I'm very excited for Ashes, because I love beating guilds. I love the whole guild aspect of things. I love being a cogwheel and the major cogwheel that a guild is. And I love to be useful. And I think professions and how guilds operate nowadays that are so organized and professional, like, man, I can't wait to like actually be in a guild setting in Ashes and be that gatherer, or, you know, be that skinner or whatever, and just going down the chain pipe of like, oh, here's my skin, go to the processor, then goes into the leatherworker crafter, and then we make the gear, and then I can get a piece, or then whoever gets a piece of gear. Like, that's going to be really cool, and I'm excited for that. And I think with having regional auction houses are also going to be a very good thing too. And again, like, I know a lot of people think that it's a good idea on paper, but it's gonna be bad in practice, and it might be. Who knows? But I think Steven's willing to keep his principles up until he's proven wrong. Yeah, and that's what I love about the guy, is that he's like, I really just want to see it for how I see it. Because the other thing about it too is I get a lot of arguments from people that are like, oh, all PvP, hardcore PvP MMOs fail. Well, yes, because they suck. And they don't quit just because it's a full loot PvP MMO. They quit because the game overall, like the feature wise, gameplay wise, combat wise, I mean, there's so many factors of why those games suck. And they're the same thing. They're all clones. They don't feel different or unique, or they do anything that is revolutionary. I think there's so many things that Ashes does that's just going to be completely new to people. Like, or go ahead.
RuneScape, full loot PvP.
Yeah,
always has been. Sure, it's limited to an area, but it is full loot PvP.
Mm-hmm.
And without PvP, like a big problem in RuneScape, there's too little PvP, so you get too little resources going out of the game. You have to constantly have resources going out of the game, or the economy falls apart. And that is a big problem that might happen to Ashes, that the economy isn't properly set up.
Right. But I mean, the one thing I can't remember when they did this, but Steven said that he actually hired an economist to go over, like, internally, like, how can we really make this economy work? Like, what do we need to do to make it work? And to, you know, and that's the thing, like, I know. And again, if I was in Steven's shoes, I would have done the same thing, because if I don't know economics, I got to hire someone that does know economics very damn well. Because if I'm putting $40 million of my own money, I don't want to flush it down the toilet for nothing. I want to see it succeed. And I think he's taking the right steps and measures to do that. But yeah, like, so he's taking the right step and he's taking the right measures to do that. So,
and one thing I absolutely love about Steven is he knows what he doesn't know, and he's willing to listen to people who do know.
Right.
I think a lot of the issues that New World have had, is it dead yet? Can
It's
we
been
call
dead.
it? Can we say
Dead world.
had? It's because the people in charge didn't listen to the people who knew what they were talking about,
Right.
and I think like the people that Steven has put around him, he trusts them wholeheartedly, and I think that's so important for building an MMO,
Right.
or like any game or any industry. You have to listen to the people who knows what they're talking about, and your job as the boss is to know who knows and who doesn't. And
Right.
I think Steven is really good at that. And
Right.
and that is like, when you hear Steven talk, like he mentions, like he name drops the people who's working on. He
Right.
knows who's doing what, and I think the passion he brings to the project is so important, because you have to have passion, you have to allow creativity, and I think those are the most two important things when you're making art: passion and creativity. And I think the people in this project have that.
Oh, right. I mean, for me, and Steven's willing to learn the things he does not know.
Yeah.
Because it's like he doesn't want to go on these live streams and sound like an idiot when he talks about like the conversion to Unreal Engine 5. Like you can tell he did his homework with like talking about it and going from the back end, the engineering side, going into the front end side, and talk about nanite and lumen, and just it's a lot of complexity for someone who isn't a developer, but he's willing to talk to these people and say, tell me how it is. Like I need to know these systems, how they work, even though I'm not an engineer. I'm not your job, but explain to me as best you can so I can do my homework, so I can best educate myself. And I love that. I love the fact that he's willing to be so hands-on with his team, because I feel like a lot of other teams and other development teams for MMOs, you can tell that the lead game designer or whoever is not as hands-on. They just, he's doing his job, whatever, that's fine. I'm just gonna do my job over here and never check up on his work, and just whenever he's completed, I'm just gonna put it in. And if it messes up, it's on them, not on me. And you can definitely see that. But with Steven, it's like when they were going over the character creator, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But you had the other engineers saying like Steven was literally with us every step of the way, testing with us, giving us his input, asking like what he would like. And he's like, and that was such a breath of fresh air, because all of the people we work with are gamers, so they know what they want from their character creator. And again, that's so refreshing, as a developer, because sometimes, again, you have developers that aren't gamers. They just love to create for games, but they themselves aren't really that much of an avid gamer. But then you have Steven, who's a hardcore MMO gamer. You have Margaret, who's a hardcore MMO gamer. You have all these people that he hires that are all gamers. So it just, I don't know. It really, it just makes me smile every time that I see Intrepid, especially Steven, talk about certain things. But what did you think about the character creator that we saw recently? I'm curious.
Fantastic. I loved it.
Did you think it was gonna be that polished?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was listening to just the YouTube video, then I listened to the Asmongold react to it, and the thing he said like 2 minutes, I was like, just wow. And this is like very early in development, and there are definitely scuffs. Like the beard doesn't feel like it sits on the face properly, but
I think what they need to do with the beard is they need to make a stubble, and they need to make a stubble, because the one thing I love about the Unreal Engine is you can literally see pores.
Oh yeah,
inside the skin.
That was like the mate. I try to find a word, like weathered. Like the characters actually look weathered. Like you could see. Like I actually don't have any of this,
but
Unreal Engine looks better than me. You do have like the actual like the like, yeah, you can see that you have a stubble, and
Right.
you could in this as well, like,
Because if they were to work on a stubble first, because a lot of people say that it feels caked on, like it just feels like
Yeah.
hair caked on, but
Exactly.
stubble comes from your pores. So
Yeah.
if they can actually work from there and see if stubble in a character in Ashes looks good, and it doesn't look tacked on, it looks like it's actually growing from the pores, then the beards are going to look freaking fantastic.
And then you just add
The
like just
volume.
long, yeah, exactly, just add length to it. I
Right.
think yeah, 100%, because the hair looks great, and I really like the way you could like change different parts. Wish I could do that.
Yeah,
to your
the whole lengthening I thought
Yeah.
was just so revolutionary, because again, there's no other game right now that has that lengthening thing. You know what I mean? And it's just really cool. And again, if they had body hair, that's another thing that isn't in any MMO. Like because in most MMOs you're just like this waxed person, you know, with no body hair at all. And I want to be burly looking. I want to be a Renkai orc with some freaking hair. I want to look like not like a lumberjack, like all hairy.
Don't
Like
they have scales?
no, they do. They do have scales, but I want some chest hair. You know what I mean? I want
Yeah,
some chest hair. I want some leg hair. You know, but I want to be able to adjust that too. I want it to be a certain length. I don't want it to just have one burly look. You know, I want to be able to adjust how much hair I want. If I want a little happy trail going in my 6-pack, you know, I want to have those options, you know. But I mean, I just think it's like you can clearly tell. This is why I'm not even worried, is because they clearly have a vision. And everybody that was saying was like, this is not the final product. This is nowhere near done. So I don't even have to worry.
2 races, no females. They're not done.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
I think they're done.
Oh yeah,
This is
yeah.
like-
This is the for
This is
sure.
ready for release.
Yeah.
No. Obviously, this is.
Yeah, and I feel like it's going to be crazy with most people are like wanting to see the female, like the female Kalar model, because they want to see like the boob slider and all this other stuff. But
I love the crotch slider.
I know, it's like, and people are saying, what should we recall it? Just call it the groin saw. That's the technical
What was it,
term.
groin?
Yeah, the groin saw
thought
is slider.
I
you
thought
know.
it was crotch. Oh, whatever. It's the same thing.
Yeah, groin, crotch. I mean, it's the dick slider. Everybody knows it's a dick slider. Let's just call it as it is. But I mean, the fact that you can even make that a thing and then make a butt a thing, like, and you can have a bigger butt, like, hey, like I'm all for options. Like at the end of the day, I'm not even really into character creation personally. I
am.
Yeah,
I am.
and most people are. And
yeah,
but the one feature that I really loved is that you're going to be able to save preset models and share them with your friends. That is, man, that is so huge.
Yeah, BDO has that, and it's
Yes, they do.
Like, when you click through, like that's one of the BDO is the current gold standard.
It is. And I feel like Intrepid is right. Not like they're not neck and neck yet, but they are in definitely the same ballpark. And to be totally fair, I honestly thought this first pass was not even going to be in the ballpark of BDO. But in my opinion, I think right now, I'm not, if I had to say like BDO's first place, Intrepid's 13th. They still have a ways to go, but
I prefer BDO's creator already, because the like you said something that I didn't even notice that I looked up. The scars that actually took in account the actual bones in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
That blows BDO out of the water. And BDO's character creator, you can actually lengthen your hair in BDO. It's really janky and it doesn't look good at all, but you can do it. It has a lot of flaws. Like if you,
I just feel like BDO is not intuitive, and that's why I think again, Ashes seems way more intuitive and way easier to manipulate and to use.
Yeah,
but
the sculpting looks fantastic for everything. Not
right.
Like, I think Fallout 4 had sculpting for the face. The fact that you can do it for the entire body is
huge.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like, yes, BDO, in my opinion, is still definitely ahead of this alpha 1 or you know, heading into alpha 2 pass of the character creator,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But there's so many similarities right now. Can you say presets in BDO? Can you do it in Ash's character? Yes. Can you train them with your friends? Yes. Is there sculpting? Yes. Like, there's a lot of yeses and not a lot of no's. So all I'm saying is I thought there was going to be way more no's than yeses, you know. And there's actually things too that I think this character creator does that even BDO doesn't. You can't blend in BDO. There is no blending option.
No. Yeah.
So just saying.
Yeah, I think, like, if you have, like, say, if they have a library, I don't think they will have a library, an official library, but I can guarantee there will be unofficial libraries, which is, like, you just take a code and pop it in there, and you'll have that character. I think that's gonna be fantastic for people who like having their character look good. I think this is probably like why you're so excited about, because you like your character looking good, but you don't want to spend 3 hours making your character.
Right. Yes. It's exactly right. I want to be able to just give it to someone else and be like, hey, you spend 3 hours, and then I can spend maybe 5, 3, not even a minute, and just do some slight tweaks. All right, perfect. I'm good.
But
that's
also,
what I want.
Say you have a library of 100 characters.
Right.
But you don't want to pick just and plop it in there, because now you know.
Right.
I'm looking the same as at least one other person. But if you take 2 or 3 or 4 other people and blend them, now you will have a unique character that looks a lot like you want, but it is unique because only you have this character.
Right.
Even if someone else made like all the hard work, you got the uniqueness of the final product. And I think I can spend. I'm the kind of guy, I spend 3 hours to make my character. I've deleted maxed out characters like this because I didn't really like the look of it.
Wow.
And I just remake. Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. So just to kind of like wrap up our conversation. So why? And I ask everybody this just because I feel like everybody has a different answer. Some people have the same, but some people have different. Why do you believe in Ash as a creation?
Mainly because of Steven's, like, the passion. And I played Arcade when it came out. I thought it had a lot, like, when I hear Steven talk about Arcade, I feel the same. I feel the same about Arcade as he does. All the things that they did right, and I've been looking for a really long time for this kind of MMO, with actual community, actual risks, actual rewards, a game that I can immerse myself in for a really long time. If BDO had the Western style combat, I would probably love that game, but it doesn't. I don't like the Korean style combat. And Ashes, it's like just like picking all of the parts I love about an MMO, and just putting them in the same basket. And that is definitely like the reason I'm hoping for Ashes to succeed.
No, for sure. I mean, and again, I think Steven is what kind of sold me too. I saw Steven talk to Asmongold in 2020 when he was driving to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that conversation just sold me on him. I mean, and the more I saw from him, from the live streams, I was like, yeah, this is a game that I want to play for the next 15 years. Like, I would love if I can say I played WoW for 15 years and then I played Ashes of Creation for 15 years. Like, I would love to say that when I'm like 60. And so, yeah, Steven's just, he has a good head on his shoulders. I think Intrepid has been doing a great job with their live streams. I know I would love more information on certain things. I think the next thing I would love to see, Steven, is the artisan system. Show us the artisan system and like how being like the UI of the artisan, or just like a first pass of the artisan system tree, so we can see like the gathering, processing, crafting, picking a lane, seeing like how in depth like the professions are from a talent tree perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, just show us that. I would be so grateful for that. But MoerTa, thank you so much for having this chat with me and bearing with me in the beginning before
No,
the
no, no.
1v1. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great conversation. And where can people find you? Twitter, Discord, or
I have a YouTube, which is
oh, okay,
MoerTA. There's nothing on there.
okay,
But there probably will be Ash's content.
maybe coming when Alpha 2 starts. Who knows?
Probably. Or maybe like when we have a date, I'll probably start making content, because I didn't play Alpha 1. I didn't feel like dropping $500.
I didn't play it either.
Yeah.
I was just watching the live streams all, enthusiastically. That was about it.
Yeah, same.
All right. Well, guys, I will have MoerTa's do you have Twitter?
No.
No Twitter?
No,
okay.
no.
Well,
Twitter,
I
no
will
Facebook.
put his soon-to-be YouTube account in the description. So
No,
if you...
the YouTube account is up, so you can follow me there,
Okay.
but there's nothing on there at the moment.
Okay. Well, it'll be there in the description box, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this 1v1. I guess I'm your host, Vlhadus. This is 1v1 Podcast, and I will see you guys in the next one.